Howdy, howdy do, Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And this is episode 249.
Oh, yes.
One day, I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.
Our lives are different to anybody else's. That's the exciting thing. Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
You may be a doctor, but I'm the doctor. The definite article, you might say.
The trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear, and it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
I am the Doctor!
For now, for this moment, I am the Doctor again.
The ground beneath our feet is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, and the entire planet is hurtling around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour, and I can feel it. We're falling through space, you and me.
People assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect, but actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
I could be a curator. I'd be great at curating. I'd be the great curator.
I could retire and do that.
I'm the Doctor. I've lived for over 2,000 years, and not all of them were good. I've made many mistakes, and it's about time that I did something about that.
Bit of adrenaline, dash of outrage, and a hint of panic knitted my brain back together. I know exactly who I am. I'm the Doctor. Sorting out fair play throughout the universe.
Howdy, howdy do. Hope you've all had a cracking week and they've all managed to do something Doctor Who related. Welcome to episode 249. I hope you're all well. We are back in the hot seat. Missed you, buddy.
Yeah, cheers, man. I have been listening. I've been tuning into your little mini pods just to keep in with the news and stuff. Yeah, sure. No, I was nodding along when you were talking about that big chief fourth Doctor. I was like, yes. yeah, well, yeah, I was listening just to check you weren't saying anything behind my back. I've been listening in.
As always, behind your back.
Good for you to keep it going.
Yes, cool. Want to keep the old podcast going. There was a few comments on the show that I did in relation to the big chief figure, and I just want to clarify and confirm that I think some of the figures from Big Chief are actually kind of good. I just don't like that fourth Doctor one, so I don't like it. I'm not going to pretend I do like it.
No, but I tell you what, I knew you'd appreciate my Red Dwarf picture because you love Red Dwarf, don't you?
Yeah, of course.
And that is absolutely so. So there's a little meme going around of like, what's the character called?
Rimmer.
Rimmer, of course. Yeah, with his big old bouffant hair. And you've got to admit, there is a similarity between that and that figure.
There is, yeah. There's definitely something wrong with the hair sculpt. It's like looks like it's been sort of pulled upwards with a plunger. Or he's just been to have his back in the day, but women might even do
big old hair dryers.
Yeah, those big things that women. Women still might do this. I'm not sure, but it's just it's a very
curlers in
retro thing, isn't it? Where they went to the barbers or the whatever it's called, and they sit and put this big dome thing on their head. And is that a blow dryer? Does it like blow their hair all nice and big?
I assume so. Yeah.
It looks like they've sat him in one of those.
It reminds me of the thing in the Peter Cushing Dalek Invasion Earth movies. They have this big thing comes down to robotize them. It reminds me of one of them.
Yeah.
Apparently they are going to improve on the. They are. They've already said we're going to change the hair and whatever. But I some people love Big Chief. I don't know. They're not my thing at all. But some people, I know they've got a big fan base. So yeah, they're not my thing. I like the costume though. I do love that burgundy outfit that the fourth wears. But I just did have to laugh when I saw your comments about the face. I was like, well, I've got to agree with you. It's not the face, the hair.
The hair. Yeah, I mean that's what I said. From the neck down, it's a great figure. They can just sort out the hair and the face sculpt a little bit. Be be good.
Yeah.
But what's weird is that there was also a few comments of people saying that there was one chap, I've forgotten his name. Unfortunately, he said that he was at something at the Birmingham NEC the week before they announced it. And they had a prototype of that figure on display. It might have been the Toy Fair or some kind of event like that. And they said that it looked absolutely brilliant, the prototype for it. And he said that when he saw the release version, he's like, what have they done? Looks nowhere near as good.
Now, I think I know the reason for that, because apparently at the Toy Fair, they hadn't got the head sculpt ready. So what they did is they plonked on the head from their previous Fourth Doctor, because they've done a previous one in his sort of regular costume.
That's right.
And they apparently, because they didn't have the head sculpt ready, they plonked that on it. And apparently it looked a lot better. So, yeah. Why don't they just use that head sculpt? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason. That's what I heard via the internet, which, of course, is our source of information these days. Yeah, that's what I heard.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all right. Well, at least we'll both be saving a few £100 because they're not cheap, are they?
They're
about
not.
£300.
No.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
That towards something else.
That's the thing you said earlier, that you can pick up 3 or 4 decent Robert Harrop figures for the price of one Big Chief.
Oh, I have a group chat where it gets quite heated because I'm very much on the side of Robert Harrop. I love their figures, and I know we've said the same about them. They do, the monster ones are always really good, and the human ones all can be hit and miss. So I'm not biased against it, but yeah, in this group chat, very much half the group love Big Chief but hate Robert Harrop, and the other half is the opposite. And so we very often, as soon as a new figure's released by Eva, get into a sort of verbal scrap.
Right.
Because I was like saying, are you telling me that you think that head sculpt looks good? And they were like, well, the Cyber Leader legs on the Harrop figures are too short. And I'm like, so we got into this sort of war of words. So I know what they're saying, but price-wise, I mean, Harrop, they're normally around sort of 60 to 80 quid, roughly. Mm-hmm. And I think they're beautiful figurines. And these Big Chief are like 300.
Yes.
But as I said, it's a very personal opinion. Whichever you like is fine. But yeah, I would rather have 4 Harrops than one of those Big Chiefs.
Yeah, I think I've said this before as well, that in comparison to some of the other companies that make those 6-scale expensive figures, so most of our listeners will probably know there's a company called Hot Toys, another one called Sideshow Collectibles, and the amount of face sculpts that they've produced over the years that look scarily accurate is much higher in quality compared to some of the Big Chief. Like I said, not all of them, but just some of the Big Chief figures for a roughly the same price. So they're charging a lot for a figure that doesn't quite cut it. There's just something about it that just doesn't quite nail the features of that particular Doctor. Because if you just do a Google if you just go on Sideshow Collectibles website and look at some of their figures they've done over the years, the 6-scale ones, they are eerily accurate. Like you're looking at like a miniature version of the actor, or So yeah, I just think they need to up their game a little bit with the head bit. Yeah,
I think I don't know if it's made by them, but I remember walking past FP not that long ago, and there was a figure like the Big Chief of Adam West as Batman, and it, like you said, it looked so much like him. It was quite eerie. It was like a mini Adam West figure in the window, and it could well have been made by them. But that was the sculpt on that, amazing.
Yeah, they are amazing. So yeah, Big Chief, we know you. We said this for everyone, didn't we? We know you listen. We love the figures that you're putting out, but just if you can try and work those face sculpts a bit more, be on
board.
Put
them under
maybe
the dryer for another half an hour, maybe. Put them under the robotization hair dryer.
Yes.
I must apologise for 2 things. 1, if my throat's a bit croaky, and 2, my internet signal is terrible at the minute. So listeners, apologies if I'm cutting out at all. Gary's cutting out quite a lot my end. I'm kind of getting the gist of what he's saying because I can can pretty much read his mind anyway. But yeah, my internet's been terrible this week. Yeah. Isn't it annoying when the internet goes down? I come home from work and I was like, I can't get online. Just limit internet.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, it's one of those things these days. People get really cranky about it as well.
That's because we live our lives on it, isn't it?
Yeah. Like I'm fine. Like if the internet goes down, I'm like, that's cool. Be up later. I'll go and read a book or do something. Whereas my son or my sons, they're just like the world has just come to an end, come to a stop. It's like, how do they function without being online? Like the Xbox won't connect or their phone won't connect. It's like, guys, chill. Nothing's, everything's fine still. You don't understand.
We wouldn't be able to record though. I said this morning because it was it did go off completely on Monday. It sort of come back on Tuesday. Sounds like Craig David song. Internet came back on Tuesday. Then we could record on Wednesday. And I thought, oh God, is it going to be? And it's not great. It does keep cutting out, but hopefully I'm coming through all right. I kept thinking, God, it's like, the one chance we do get to record and the blimmin' internet goes off.
Oh, well. You got a bit of man flu as well, haven't you? You're a bit croaky.
Oh, yeah. I know there's no sympathy. I didn't think I'd bother mentioning it. I know you don't.
Not from me, mate.
Get any sympathy from me.
No.
Yeah, but no, I'm cracking on through.
If I sound, my memories, as you know, and everyone knows, our memories are pretty crappy, but I'm going to be struggling a little bit more today. I'm absolutely knackered. I didn't get in till gone 3 a.m. this morning. I was at the midnight showing of The Rise of Skywalker, so I'm really tired. And I was there from 6 o'clock as well with the triple bill, watching all three of the sequel trilogy, so I'm pretty tired. So if I get names wrong or if I get anything wrong, I do apologise up front.
Well, I won't worry about that because I was going to say when I was watching the Moonbase, I was thinking, I'm not going to remember any of these. There's no chance. Apart from Bob.
Apart from Bob.
He's the only one that I can remember is Bob. Just because he just made me laugh. But yeah, no, when we get to the Moonbase later, I won't be knowing any of them.
Yeah, it could be an interesting
You'll be like,
one.
What do you think of so-and-so? And I'll be like, yeah, he was good. I won't have a clue what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting show, I think, this week. Are
you going to quickly tell us your thoughts on Skywalker, or are you going to save it for your Star Wars podcast?
Yeah, well, obviously I'll be putting thoughts down on that podcast, but
did you like the bit where Darth Vader slayed all the porgs? that didn't happen. That's not a spoiler. It didn't really happen. But did you like the bit where Kylo and Rey kissed and went to that tent? Oh no, that didn't happen. That
didn't happen either. So
none of this happened, did it? I am actually saying this. I haven't seen it. I'm assuming these are all lies. I'm not spoiling anything, am I?
I can neither confirm nor deny anything.
God, if they are real spoilers, you better cut them out because I'm assuming they're jokes.
Anyway, so yes, very quick thoughts. It's a very, very good film. My kind of thing on it is if you like The Force Awakens, then you will love this. If you like The Last Jedi, you probably won't like it as much because it's J.J. Abrams all over it. It's very fan servicey, but I think it's on purpose this time. I think The Force Awakens was fan service quite a bit, but that was because I think they needed to be to a degree. The Last Jedi, they took a lot of risks, very, very different. This one, I think because it's closing off everything, it needs to have a certain level of fan service, but it's more deliberate than The Force Awakens. And like I said to you before we started recording, do not go and watch it if you're in any way tired or whatever, because there's so much going on, you need to concentrate. So, yeah, but it's a cracking one though.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I don't know when I'll get to see it. I'd love to watch it back to back. Actually, even though I struggle with Last Jedi, I would like to watch them so see how they flow together. But yeah, looking forward to that.
Yes,
whenever that may be.
Yeah.
Who did you go with? You didn't take the other half and force her to sit for all 3 films, did you?
Well, my wifey's away with work at the moment, but even if she wasn't, she wouldn't come and watch the trip. I
didn't think she would.
No, she would watch the. Well, we're gonna see. I'm going to see it again next week, so I'm going to take her and the fam. We're going to see it next week while we're away for Christmas. But she wouldn't come for the triple bill though. But she would go and see on its own.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I meant. Like 3 would just be too much, wouldn't it?
Yeah, she'd be asleep, mate. She'd be asleep within 20 minutes into The Force Awakens. She'd be snoring her head off.
I remember when I took my partner to see the 2 Peter Cushing movies at Riverside. They had like a screening at the Riverside Studios, and I love those films. And but obviously the second one, I thought that's the one he'll like. It's much more action, and the second one's the one. But he made it through the first one. I could see he wasn't that engaged yet. I thought, it's all right. There's Invasion Earth's coming up next. He's gonna love this. And he kept falling asleep. And I was getting so cross. I was like, this is the good one. Wake up! Oh, I nearly swore that. And I was like, wake up! I was getting so cross.
It's a tragedy, mate, when that happens. I remember when me and the missus went to see The Dark Knight at the cinema, the Heath Ledger Joker one, which has
Yeah.
You know, she was asleep like 40 minutes in. I looked over and
Really?
she's kind of mouth breathing a little bit and she's properly nodded off. I'm like, how can anyone fall asleep during, you know, arguably one of the best Joker performances, you know, that we've seen. But bless her, she was probably knackered at the time. But yeah, it was very funny to watch. So yeah, she does do that quite a bit, to be fair, at the cinema.
I've been in a cinema before and heard someone snoring in the front row, like really loudly. It was in London, in Leicester Square. I can't remember the film. But yeah, it was sort of like whenever it went quiet, it might have been Social Network or something like that. We could all hear, and the people started laughing. It was like, what's going on?
There was a guy
all the way through.
Yeah, there was a guy snoring last night. I don't think he didn't look. You don't judge any books by covers, but he didn't look like a Star Wars fan. He looked like he had been dragged along. You know, one of those situations where I don't want to go by myself. Come with me. Oh, I don't want to see it. Yeah, but I don't want to go by myself. All right then. I think it looked like one of those because he just, he was on his phone right up until the opening crawl as well. So he clearly wasn't into it. So, and he was snoring his head off by about 1 o'clock. Yeah.
That's one of my pet hates in cinemas. People on their blooming phones. I'll tell you, that angers me. Yeah.
Lenny Henry's been a bit controversial this week.
Oh no, don't bring him into it. Oh no.
I was going to say, have you seen
I told you he would be. I told you what he's like.
You did. You told me this actually before he was even announced.
Well, no, it was as he was announced. Remember when you read out and I said, oh no.
Well, there was something before that. So maybe it was last year, or there was one show we were talking about something to do with Lenny Henry. I can't remember.
Yeah.
He was related to something to do with who. And I can't remember what it was. And I remember you saying to me at the time that you think he's a great, great performer, great, all the rest of it. But he has a kind of a kind of race agenda that he always pushes. You always see it when he does his stand-up gigs or does interviews. So he's very much got an agenda in that respect. And I remember you saying when we read the announcement, you're like, oh, for God's sake, he's probably going to be brilliant, but let's not have any of the agenda. And then lo and behold, he does that interview. What was it, this morning or something?
I don't know what it was. He was kicking off and stuff. Thing is, I know, and I'm not saying like the stuff he says, he's got valid points. There's nothing against what he's saying, but it's just, it's just every interview he bangs on about the same old thing. And now I just feel like he's used Doctor Who to push it even further. It's just like, oh, Lenny, for crying out loud. I mean, and also, I know he was misquoted or something. He started slagging off Russell T Davies' era for not having enough people of colour, which I think is completely wrong, but apparently he was misquoted or whatever about that. But then he starts saying the BBC would rather employ a dog to play the Doctor than an actor of colour, which is completely untrue because Stephen Moffat offered the role to, I forget the actor's name, who was in Spooks, wasn't it? Or something
Spooks, like I've forgotten his name as well, but he was offered it, wasn't
turned it down. And I'm just like, fair enough. You've got some valid points, Lenny, but if you're going to spout off stuff, slagging off the series that you've just been put in, at least get your facts right or make your points back. And I knew he would do that. And I just, I don't know. But I'm not getting involved in it because it has caused so much trouble
drama
on Twitter. Like people, real proper drama this time. Is like people have just, certain writers, I better not name names, but certain writers from Doctor Who have blocked each other, and people who are quite involved in the fandom who've got lots of followers who again shall remain unnamed have blocked other people. It's just really got quite unpleasant. And I don't know. I didn't expect it to go quite this far, but I knew as soon as he's announced, like, oh, here we go. Wait for it. So,
I love that. It's like, let's not think about his performance, how that's going to be in a show. It's like, no, here we go. Just give it a minute.
It's slightly, actually, in sort of taking it to a serious, it does slightly mar it as well, because now I'm thinking, he's slightly annoyed me with some of the stuff already. So now it has already sort of slightly marred the first episode for me, because I'm like, oh, here he is. Although he'll probably be good in it. So I'm just trying not to think about, all the stuff he's been spewing off on interviews. But yeah, oh well, I'm not going to say any more because it's just dangerous territory. We're probably already being blocked just for mentioning his name.
Yeah,
so I'm not going to say any more.
Yeah, obviously we don't dive into that stuff when but it's just.
Well, I don't know. I tell you, I don't even voice my opinion much on Twitter anymore. I honestly don't, because, and I probably won't do so with Series 12 particularly. I'll save my reviews for here, but. you just can't say anything now without, because most of the people that have blocked each other, the irony is they were agreeing with each other. That's the irony. Most of the people were actually agreeing with each other have all blocked each other. It's just mad. It's
nuts on Twitter these days. You can't do anything. You've got boomers saying that millennials are snowflakes and they get upset and everything, and then
I've got a confession actually. I meant to ask you this before we kicked off. I need to ask you what this. I don't know what the word. What does woke mean when people say that's woke? Does that stand for something or what? I honestly don't know what that means. I know what the people are getting at, but what is it? Where's that word come from?
So woke is like it's kind of like, I think it's meant to describe your like a full understanding of like modern sort of social and racial society and discriminations and oppression
around a lot.
So it's like somebody that's really clued up on like modern socialism and what's going on in terms of gender and race and all that stuff and equality, and I think it's meant to describe somebody who's kind of up on that stuff, I think.
I get you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which we are very
I just wondered because he gets used all the time now, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. Yeah. It's a crazy old world. And so the whole Lenny Henry stuff was expected, but I didn't realise it was going to cause so much drama as it had. But
let's just say it didn't take him long to get all his usual stuff out in an interview, rather than just talking about the show. But there we are.
Yeah. Before we crack on with the news, I started watching The Crown last week.
Oh dear God, why?
Yeah, well, my some people at my wife's work had said to her, "Have you watched The Crown yet?" And she was like, "No, we don't. We haven't watched it." And they said, "Well, you really should." So
we don't.
So she stuck it on just to see what it was like, and I have to say, mate, I'm not sort of, I don't love the show as it is, but I've got to tell you, Matt Smith, crikey Moses, he's freaking awesome in that.
Oh, I bet he is. But isn't that the one with Jenna Coleman, or is that Victoria?
No, that's Victoria. That's a different thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah. Oh, well, then that's why I get them mixed up. But,
okay.
So Matt Smith, he's playing
Prince Philip,
Prince Philip. Yeah.
And like a very, a young, Prince Philip, and he's really like his acting chops are just so good. Really,
I love
good.
Matt. I might give it a go then. I thought Jenna was in it, which put me off. But if Matt's in it, I'll give it a watch. If you're saying it's worth a look.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, like I said, I'm not really a royalist really, so I'm not sort of I'm not blown away by the storylines and stuff. It's an okay watch, but Matt Smith in particular is very, very good. Yeah.
Problem is, I'll be just expecting like Harry Enfield to keep popping in as Prince Charles or something with some big ears. Like, want to talk to the plants. And,
God. But no, it's very good. So, before we crack on with the news, I assume because you've been working so hard and everything as usual, have you watched any other Who than Moonbase?
Yeah, it's been super crazy. I didn't even know if I was going to have time to watch the Moonbase. I generally was quite worried because I've been sort of finishing around 9, getting home about 10:30, 11 at night. So it's been a bit tight. So I've literally come in, watched the Moonbase. I really wanted to watch the extras as well because I like to do that just to get a bit of a insight into the story, and I haven't had a chance to do that on this one. I watched them when I first bought it. I know there's some nice bit about Troughton finding his doctor and stuff.
Yes.
Anyway, no, apart from watching the Moonbase, I haven't really had a chance to do anything Who related. There was something nice waiting for me when I got home the other night though, Doctor Who related, which was the Web Planet vinyl. The splatter.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh, what's it called? I can't remember what they've called this one. The something splatter vinyl. Can't think what it is, but there was like two versions, and we'll call it. Let's just call it the Zarbi splatter vinyl. It's really, really nice. This is again those sort of big box sets with the beautiful artwork, and so that was waiting for me when I come home the other night, and that is lovely.
Nice.
Really, really pleased with that. That's sort of my Christmas present to myself, if you like, because I dropped enough hints and it didn't get ordered, so I was like, right, I'll order it myself then. So I did. So that's my Christmas present to me. But yeah, that's been it, mate. I haven't really been doing anything. I had one day off last week, and I met up with my partner in London for lunch because he was playing squash. And I did quickly nip to FP. I cannot go to London and not nip into Forbidden Planet. But Yeah, there's nothing Who related in there worth seeing at the minute. The only thing I bought was a Funko Pop of the Little Shop of Horror plant, Audrey 2. It's one of the best Funko Pops I've ever bought. It's absolutely awesome. But that's so that's the only thing I've done really.
I read you.
Just been busy. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Me
about
too,
you,
mate.
have you, apart from watching Star Wars and stuff, have you any Who?
No, mate. I've not had a chance to stick any Who on this week or since we last recorded. So, yeah, busy. I'm hoping that
busy bees.
Yeah, I'm hoping that after the week. Oh, that's a good point. Actually, you should probably let our listeners know that we're not going to be here next week because it's Christmas week, and I'm away anyway, and you are going to be stacked.
Oh, I'll be working all over it. Yeah.
Anyway, so there's going to be no show next week. The week after that is when Series 12 kicks off on Wednesday the 1st. So depending on what our schedules are like, we might be recording that week. If not, we will be back the week after. So we'll either have a week off or we'll have 2 weeks off, but we'll let you know. Just keep an eye on the social medias. We'll let you know on that. And talking of that stuff, go and give us a like and a follow over on social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. And so is Adam under his name, The Geek's Handbag. Just go and give him a search over there. We do chat, even though we're busy, we do chat and muck in over on socials and chat Doctor Who and stuff throughout the week. And also, if you're new to the show, waving from behind the mic, welcome aboard. Go and check us out on any podcast app that you listen to podcasts on. Give us a subscribe over there so that you don't miss a show when it lands every Friday. And on that note, shall we land it and do some news?
Yes, let's do it.
There's been a cool Doctor Who student project video that went out a few days ago, which looks really cool. There's one of the schools over in Swansea in Wales, which is a special needs school which caters for students between 3 and 19, have put together a really decent length, good quality fan film. And I can't pronounce the name of the school. I'm very sorry. I'm going to give it a go, but I think it's pronounced Ysgol Pen Bryn. I think that I probably butchered that to no end, but there we go. And they've made this student fan film called Doctor Who the Movie. But what's cool about it is they've got Sylvester McCoy in, who's narrating through pretty much the entire thing, which is really cool. And it's a decent chunk. Like I said, it's just over half an hour. It's a half an hour film. And they've gone and I don't know how much money they've had available to them, but they've done a really good job with whatever budget they've got. They've used a lot of costumes that we've seen in the new era of Doctor Who. They've made a bunch of really good props as well. There's a really interesting looking sonic screwdriver device. There's an electronic arm. K9 makes a decent appearance in this as well. Yep. Yeah. There's a full-size Dalek prop, which makes a good appearance as well. Plus, they've also gone to a load of locations that were used in the filming of the show as well around Cardiff. They're at the Millennium Centre in Cardiff, down at the Bay. They're over at the what's the beach that Rose and Ten end up a couple of times.
I was going to say Bad Wolf Beach. Of course, that's not the real name. I don't know what it's called.
You know what it's called, yeah. So they're off at that bit for the end as well. And just overall, it's just a really good, little fan film. I mean, there's been tons of fan films made over the years. And it's just the fact that it's a bunch of students who essentially have put this together. It's really, really good. So we'll stick a link in the show notes to this. And it's just something about it. It's really cool to hear McCoy narrate over a large portion of it, because sometimes you can get one of the actors to maybe give you an intro and that's your lot. You know, I've seen a couple of audio plays that have outside of Big Finish that have not been official, where they've got somebody to come on and do an intro to it. But the fact that McCoy's taken the time to do it is really cool. So yeah, Doctor Who the Movie, student fan film. It's it's a good little watch actually. Well done, really, really good.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I'll see the link there. I will give that a little watch later. Sounds good. Sounds very good. Right, in other news, a couple of more actors have been announced for the up-and-coming Series 12 of Doctor Who. So we've got Anjali Mahindra, who we will recognise from the Sarah Jane Adventures. She played the Rani. She played Rani, not the Rani. I always do that. She's coming back to play a new character. Do we know the name of the character? Let me have a look. No, I've got a little quote from her, though. She says, as a huge fan of the last series, it's a bit of a dream come true to be working opposite Jodie Mandip-Tosin, and of course, after all 3 years, to work with Bradley again. Oh yeah, of course, because he was in Sarah Jane, wasn't he? There's something undeniably special about Jodie's Doctor, and to be bringing some terror to the joint was rather fun indeed, she says. So yeah, that should be good. I think I've seen a picture of her character, and she's under, if it's what I'm thinking of, I think she's under a lot of prosthetics. So we may not sort of recognise her straight away, but that's cool that she's coming back. And also Laura Fraser, who it's not a name I recognise, but looking at the picture, I do recognise her from certain programs. She's also going to be in the new series, and she says, I love this episode and couldn't resist playing such an intense character. I watched Doctor Who every week as a child, so it was a massive thrill to be asked to take part in this iconic show. So two pretty cool stars. Great to see Anjali.
The Rani.
The Rani, yeah. She was in what was that
The
program?
Bodyguard.
That's the one. Yeah, it took me ages to realise who it was, because obviously she's grown up quite a bit since Sarah Jane, and she was in that playing this quite sinister character, and all the way through I kept saying, I've seen her in something else. I recognise her. Yeah, she's a great little actress. So yeah, looking forward to seeing her in the new series. And Laura Fraser, who, as I said, I don't know the name, but she does look familiar. So
her face is familiar for sure.
It definitely is, isn't it? Yeah.
That's good news, actually. It's always good when you see previous actors pop up again.
Yeah. Well, Matt Strevens is the executive producer. He says, it was a real joy to welcome Anjali and Laura to the show. We've wanted to work with them since we started, and found the perfect characters for them to show off their talent and range. Both formidable in different ways. Doctor Who starts at 6:55 p.m. on New Year's Day. So yeah, it sounds good. I'm just liking the fact that one of the things I think was slightly lacking in Series 11 was character development. You know, like the side characters. You think about the pregnant man and stuff like that. They were just sort of one dimensional. They're nothing memorable. It sounds to me like that might have hopefully been rectified a little bit in the new series. They're talking about intense characters and stuff. So this is sounding quite promising.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes. No, it should be pretty good. And it also opens the door to like 100 fan theories who say that because this actress played Rani and Sarah Jane, there's a link to, the character that she's playing in the new show and all that stuff.
This will surprise you. I wouldn't mind. I think she'd be a great Rani, actually. And I don't know. I wouldn't mind that. I've also. Oh no, I was going to say something about Lenny Henry again, but I won't. There's rumours about who he might be as well, but we better not go down that road.
Yeah, let's leave the door to that rabbit hole.
I hope that particular rumour is untrue, but
yes. Yeah. Okay, and I've switched it up a little bit. Normally, when we have to declare a bit of sad news, we do it first, but we're going to do it last. Sadly, Donald Tosh has passed away at the age of 84, and Donald was the last surviving writer from the Hartnell era of Who. He was also script editor, and he had that job for just under a year, and he wrote most of the Massacre of St. Bartholomew's Eve, and also. So he did a rewrite on that. And then he also rewrote pretty much most of The Celestial Toymaker, as well as overseeing the rest of the script and so on. So it's a real sad one, in particular this one, because it's always sad when you have like the last of somebody has left us, So the fact that this guy was the last of the first Doctor era writers is particularly sad, but a fairly decent career. Not just Doctor Who. Worked on things like Sherlock Holmes. Worked on Sherborne of Oldcastle. Some pretty decent stories, and and he also oversaw things like Galaxy 4, the Daleks' Master Plan, the Mythmakers, all those sorts of things. So a pretty big influence over some of those early Hartnell era stuff. So yeah, sad times. Donald Tosh leaves us age 84.
84, yes. I've seen him pop up on some of the extras on the DVDs, I think, from what I remember. So it's sad news. And there was a little quote from him when he spoke in the Celestial Toy Room magazine. He apparently told Dwas that he regretted leaving Doctor Who as quickly as he did. So but he sort of seemed to sort of try and, still be involved with it as well, which is nice, isn't it? He obviously had a fondness for the series. So, yeah, which is nice to know.
Yes, it is. So there we go. That's news done. Shall we see what merch has been thrown over the fence this week?
Yeah, go on then.
Merch corner. Merch corner. Merch corner.
It's a bit rubbish, but it's pretty. It's very pretty.
Well, there you are, young man. What do you think of that now, eh? A Viking helmet.
I know, it's on the telly. It's everywhere.
I don't know whether to be impressed or disgusted.
If I work in a shop now, it'd help.
Series 5 continues the ongoing trend of pushing out steelbooks for Doctor Who.
Hurrah!
They're coming thick and fast.
I like it because there was rumours, weren't there? Oh, they're not doing any more steelbooks. Was it after Series 3?
Come on, dude. There was rumours. It's rumours, Rodney, rumours.
I remember when we got that rubbish Series 3 one and no one bought it and they were like, oh, that's it, we're not doing any more.
Nobody bought it.
Wow. Well, we did when it got reduced. This one's lovely, though.
You stole the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, everybody bought it when it came down in price. But yes, the Series 5 Steelbook is now up for pre-order. I pre-ordered this yesterday, actually, because I think this looks the proverbial nuts.
It does. It really does. I absolutely love it.
Yes, it's awesome.
Of course, being this day and age, the first comment I read underneath the release thing was, oh, we've already had a Series 5 Steelbook. What are they releasing this one? Like, oh, God. Have you seen the original Series 5 Steelbook? It's rubbish. I've got it. It's rubbish. It was just a silver tin with the time crack in it or whatever it was. This is beautiful. This is absolutely stunning. What's the artist's name? Because she did the last Steelbook as well, which was really nice as well. I've forgotten the name. But lovely, really nice work.
Actually,
definitely. Sophie, it's on the tip of my tongue, the artist's name. Sophie something. Yeah, I'll get it before we finish the thing.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, beautiful. I'm immediately getting this, pre-ordering it, whatever. But it's just such a nice idea to have like the Vincent van Gogh swirl all around it. It's just looks stunning. I mean, this is just a picture as well. I should imagine the real thing will look lovely.
Yes. Yeah. I want to say, and I'm probably incorrect with this, but I want to say that there was a limited special edition Series 5. Was it either Series 5 or Series 6? There was like a special tin that had the silence on the front. Do you remember that?
That's Series 6. Yeah, it wasn't a Steelbook. It was just a sort of 3D. I've got that as well, actually. It was like a 3D face of the silence on the front. Yeah, that was Series 6. Yeah.
Oh, Series 6.
I've got that somewhere, but it wasn't a Steelbook. It was sort of a plasticky sort of box. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Sophie Cowdery.
It's
what Sophie Cowdery did the artwork, I believe, on this one. It's really weird because I always want to call her Sophie McCowdery, and I've no idea why. But that's why I couldn't think of her name. But yeah, I believe she did the artwork. I think she did a great job on this.
Cool.
I think it's actually better than the last one she did, which was nice, which was obviously Series 4. Looks good, doesn't it? How much is it going to be?
Looks very good. Right, I've got some prices here for you. So over on Amazon, it's up for pre-order $26.99. Over on zoom.co.uk, $24.99. And on Zavvi, every pound helps, apparently, $27.99. Over on Zavvi.
I won't be ordering from Zavvi. But has this got any extra? Because, on the Series 4, we did get a new David Tennant interview, didn't we? Has this got anything new on it?
I'm not sure. It says it's got 2 of the Meanwhile in the TARDIS additional scenes. It's got 4 of the Monster Files, 3-part video diary, 13 of the Doctor Who Confidential. It's got 6 of the in-vision commentaries, outtakes, and over 20 teasers and trailers. So I don't think it's got anything new, this one. But it has got all the features from the original release by the look of it. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Series 5 as well. I'm just looking at the episode list, and I think there's some cracking stories in this one. 11th Hour, obviously. Beast Below, Victory of the Daleks. I've always thought it wasn't as bad as everyone says. Vincent and the Doctor, obviously. Pandora Crow. There's some good stuff. Even Flesh and Stone, which we reviewed not that long ago, which was one that I didn't think was that good, is okay, wasn't it? Thanks to Matt being awesome in it. It's
a belter, isn't it? Series 5, really.
It is a good one, yeah. I like Series 5.
And we're fans of Zoom.co.uk here. We use them a lot. I pre-ordered mine with those guys. But if you've not bought anything from Zoom before, if you use the code SIGNUP10, you get 10% off your first order. So that might be a sweetener for this one.
Yeah, no, I have to say I've ordered from them. They are pretty good. They normally arrive very quickly. Amazon are just a disaster at the minute. But anyway, yes, I should definitely be getting that. Talking of pre-orders, you can already order the complete Series 12. It's not even hit our screens yet, but the BBC are wasting no time in getting this up for pre-order. It's coming out in March, I believe, scheduled for March the 16th. That, of course, could well change. And it's I mean, there's a promotional image up at the minute. I'm sure this will change, but actually it's the promotional image that was sort of all white, and then it's got Jodie's flowing coat with the space vortex in it. And actually it works quite well as a cover, that. It does. So even if they were to just tweak it and leave it, I think that would be quite nice. But so this is $42.99 on Blu-ray, but of course that will come down, we assume. Normally these pre-order prices go down, and it's available to pre-order from Amazon Zoom. Oh, just Amazon Zoom at the minute, but yeah,
probably everybody will have it at some point. Yeah,
everybody will have it. It's on DVD as well, of course. But very excitingly, and again, I'm glad that they're continuing this. They're going to do a steelbook of Series 12. Now, the Series 11 steelbook, I think, was a bit drab. It was that sort of picture of Jodie on a hill taken on an iPhone, and it genuinely, that picture was taken on an iPhone. That's not me being sarcastic. It didn't look like it had a lot of effort put into the Series 11 steelbook, did it?
Not really.
So we're hoping for something a little bit more special for Series 12, BBC, if you're listening, and we know you are. Because we don't have any idea what the steelbook's going to look like yet. Price wise, let me have a look. Have we got a
50 squid for the steelbook.
50 squid, yeah, because that was the other thing. The Series 11 steelbook took an awful long time to come down in price. They really stuck to their guns with that one, and that was around 50, I believe. It was exclusive to Amazon as well, I think.
That's right.
Maybe that's why they stuck to their guns, because normally if other retailers have it, they sort of all try and keep around the same price. But yeah, with the Amazon Series 11 one, it was pretty high for some time. And then I think I finally caved in and got it when it was in, like, it wasn't a Black Friday deal, but it was something like that.
Okay.
They had like a 1 day, like a flash deal where we went down to 25, and I had a voucher for like £5. So I got it for 20 quid, which is about all I would want to spend on it, to be honest. I only really bought it for completist reasons. It's really not a great steelbook, but it's okay. It looks nicer in hand than the actual picture, to be fair. But yeah, hopefully this one will be good. So Series 12 provisionally coming out in March.
March the 16th.
For everyone
apparently.
To buy, yeah.
Yes.
There is something about this, though. If so we're assuming we'll get a special at the end of the year, I think, hopefully. So presumably that's going to be a individual release. So there was a bit of, as we got with Series 11 when they released Resolution as a standalone, I would imagine that same thing is going to happen with this. So they call it the complete Series 12, but it's not. Really, it's just most of Series 12.
Yeah,
and the special you'll have to buy later, probably. Yeah.
Yes. I'll have to see about, I don't own Series 11 yet. So I'll have to track that down somewhere.
50 squid's a bit much, isn't it? I mean, come on. It's only 10 episodes as well.
Yeah, it'll probably come down a little bit between now and March. hopefully.
I should hope so.
Yeah. So don't know, but yeah, at least they're pushing that stuff early, which is not a bad thing, I suppose. It gets it out there, and because let's face it, the BBC have they've not really been quick out the traps this year with stuff, have they? So to get it out early is good. Or the pre-order, should I say. To get the pre-order up and out early is a good thing. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all we got for merch. There's no funky ponchos or dressing gowns or mugs this week.
Are you getting one of those ponchos?
I am.
No, you're not.
No.
Yeah. They wouldn't fit me. I was going to say, I looked at it, I thought, oh, it'll just imagine that'd be disastrous. But
yeah, no, I'll give the poncho a miss, I think.
Okay.
Yep. So that's it for news and merch. Review time. Sick note. What have we got this week?
So this week we've got Jamie, Ben, Polly. No, not you, Zoe. And with the second Doctor serial, the Moonbase.
You say you searched all the base?
Yes.
Every nook and cranny?
Yes.
No chance of anyone hiding anywhere?
None whatever.
Did your men search in here?
Well,
did they search in here?
No.
I saw this giant man or creature or something.
There are some corners of the universe which have bred the most terrible things. Things which act against everything that we believe in. They must be fought.
When a new disease starts, people disappear and then you turn up. I don't know who you are, what you are, or where you came from. But you can get off the moon now.
There is something evil here.
You'll never get inside this base.
Resistance is useless. Can they get in?
I don't know, and I'm not stopping to find out. We're not done yet, and we'll fight you to the last man. We punctured the dome.
The oxygen mask.
You will be eliminated.
Evans, you've got to concentrate. Your brain has been altered by the Cybermen.
God, what a fantastic trailer.
Yeah, dude, it's that YouTuber again, Veritasimas, whatever. Cracking trailers.
Fantastic trailer, yeah. Love it.
Yeah, that's right, the Moonbase. Second Doctor story that was first broadcast back in February to March, back in 1967. It's a 4-parter. It was written by Kit Pedler, directed by Maurice Barry, and stars the 4-person TARDIS team of Jamie, Polly, and Ben with the second Doctor. And the story for this one is they arrive on the moon in the year 2070, where there's a weather control station which is being overrun by some kind of plague, illnessy thing. In reality, it's the result of some kind of alien poison that's been planted there by the Cybermen. Jamie is knocked out fairly quickly and spends half the story pretty much unconscious as he goes in and out of kind of consciousness, while the other people of the TARDIS team realise pretty quickly that something is afoot and it's the Cybermen, and kind of like a classic base under siege story while they wait for help and or destroy the Cybermen. So, in your tiredness, what did you think to this story, mate?
Yeah, I enjoyed this one. I sometimes struggle with the animation ones as well, because this is 2 of the episodes are animation and 2 are, the actual episodes themselves. And I don't know, sometimes that's the thing, because I had to sort of fit this in when I was tired. I was a little bit worried I wouldn't get into it as much, because it's, as I said, with animation I have to really sort of stick with it. But it was quite nice, because it was like episode 1 was animation, then it was the real sort of footage, then animation, then the real footage. It did sort of help it to flow, because it was like getting a break from the animation, rather than like when we've reviewed Power of the Daleks, where the whole 6 parts is animation, which I think I would have needed to have broken up a bit, if you see what I mean. But yeah, no, I enjoyed this one. It does take a little while to get going. The sort of second episode, I found myself getting a little bit like, yeah, okay, I get it. We're on the base. People are ill. We've kind of done this now, but once the Cybermen really kick in, I think this turns into a really good story by the end of it. So episodes 3 and 4 I thought were fantastic. Really, really good. So yeah, overall I liked it. I did think it was a little slow to get going. But overall I think it's a good story. Yeah, I like it. A good one for the Cybermen. I think they look brilliant in it, actually. Really do like this design of Cybermen. Yeah, so yeah, it gets a thumbs up from me. So it's a good one. It's got a good classic feel about it. I wouldn't say I probably wouldn't put it up there as one of my favourite Cybermen story. I think it's, like you said, it's a little bit sort of base under siege. It's kind of missing that sort of something, but it's a good one, I think. A real good story to watch.
Cool.
Yeah. What did you think? Yes,
I give this one a good thumbs up as well. It's a really good, cracking, classic Cyberman story. We miss these, I think, sometimes in the newer era of Doctor Who, where the Cybermen were, when they weren't the very quick-moving, all-powerful flying things, they were more kind of menacing, coming over the hill with that menacing,
very menacing,
feel
aren't they? In
stuff.
this,
yeah. So I think sometimes when the Cybermen are, and I think they play on it really well, especially in the first couple of episodes where they don't make themselves known up front. They kind of stick to the shadows and hide a little bit, and the reveal doesn't come properly. And so I think it's one of the cliffhangers in episode 2, I believe.
Yeah.
And so I think they're more menacing that way, rather than just being the big Iron Man style Marvel-esque action vibe that we've had in the recent years in a newer show. So, and I think the story itself is, I think if this was any more than 4 parts, I would have really struggled. I think,
yes.
So I wouldn't say that it lags or the pacing is that slow. There's a few moments where it is, I suppose, but if this was a 6-parter, I would have really struggled. I can't imagine what they would have filled the time with. So it's great that it's only 4 parts. Well, it's maximum 4 parts, so that's good. And I think the performances are, the performances for me are what make the story as good, this a cracking story for me. Not so much the story itself or the storyline, because that's very, very simplistic. I mean, you can tell pretty much at some point throughout episode 2 that this mysterious illness that's gripping some of the people is not just some natural thing. You can tell that it's been done on purpose by the Cybermen. And then after that point, you realise the Cybermen's agenda and you realise what's going on and stuff. So story-wise, it's really easy to follow. That's all cool. But it's the performances mainly from Polly and Ben, Annika Wills and Michael Craze. That those two are in particular, I felt, were really good in this one. And then just to sort of the cherry on the top, if you like, is just Patrick Troughton being very, very good as his Doctor in this one.
I didn't. I know we normally talk about the Doctor last, but did you find Troughton's performance slightly different in this one?
I did. Yeah, I'm hoping you were going to say that. It's he's got a slightly quieter, darker feel.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you get that as well?
Yeah, I did. It's funny because he's still very much the second Doctor, but he feels slightly toned down and more like you said, I wouldn't say more serious, but more dark. There's like this foreboding in everything he says. I mean, just listening to that trailer, the way he delivers his lines is so good. I thought this was because it was early on in his run and maybe he hadn't quite found his quirky Doctor yet. But I don't think that's the case. So sort of from what I remember from the making of this on the DVD, it's actually the director, Maurice Barry. He really toned Troughton down in this, apparently, because I think Annika Wills talks about it. She said Pat used to just do his thing and the directors would let him get on with it. But Maurice Barry was the only one who could really get him to just take it down.
Right.
And apparently he was quite, not hard to Troughton. They got on quite well, I think, but he really got him to bring the performance down to that sort of serious level. And it sounds a strange thing because, we love Troughton being his Doctor, that sort of quirky, silly, not silly, but what I mean, that sort of fun, but you always know that he's sort of got it all going on underneath. This one, there is definitely a more serious element to his Doctor. I think it works incredibly well. I really liked it. I loved Troughton's performance in this. But it is definitely feels just that little bit different. But I think that's good. I think it's really nice to get that change, to just see that side of the second Doctor. Because I don't know. I can't think of any other story where he's quite like he is in this one. He seems to be much more sort of, for want of a better word, sort of flippant in the other stories, even though we know he's serious underneath the sort of clownish act, if you like. But if you compare this sort of, if you compare the way he's playing the second Doctor in this to, say, how he plays it in The Mind Robber, where he's like, so there's none of that in this at all. There's none of that sort of, good gracious, or anything like that, is there? It's all very like they're coming, the Cybermen, it's definitely toned down. So I think it's interesting. I'm kind of glad that Maurice Barrios did that. Even if it's just for sort of this one story, I think it makes it more interesting. Yeah. So, but I loved it. I mean, I did just thought it was a great performance from Pat, but a different performance. Yeah. Yeah, it's slightly different, and I think that's a good thing. Like you said, I think it's a good thing for this particular story because you never get bored of Troughton being like that. Like you said, when he's such a watchable Doctor. Yeah. So you never get bored of it, but it is nice every now and then just to see a slightly different side, I suppose. And I think they tried to do stuff like that with Capaldi's Doctor. It felt to me, especially in series 9. It felt like in some episodes they wanted him to be quite humorous and jovial and stuff, and then in other episodes he was the polar opposite. He was that very grouchy, quiet, grumpy sort of dark Doctor. Which is fine, but I think they did that a bit too much. They kind of flitted between that and they couldn't make their mind up. So I think they've tried to do this kind of thing with other Doctors throughout the years, which is no bad thing. But I think with Troughton, because he's such a great actor and he feels, even like you said, it's quite early on, but I think he's still got a very good handle on how he wants to play his Doctor and that kind of thing. So I think it's great that we get to see that side of him. Purely because it just ups the threat of the Cybermen that much more. Definitely. So, yes. You know, if you have the Cybermen that are approaching the base and you've got the Doctor running around playing the flute, like, goodness gracious, it's kind of like, okay, it's taken away the kind of, like you said, the foreboding kind of sense of it. So when you see even the Doctor kind of crapping his pants a little bit and not happy at all that what's about to go down, that just elevates their threat level and they're, very sinister. So yeah, I think it really helps the story. So you've got to give props to Maurice Barry for that. He could probably see that the tone of the story required a bit more of a serious, darker Doctor. Well, not serious, but a slightly darker, not such a clown-like performance that we'd seen in other stories. So. Yeah, it's just in the delivery of the lines, isn't it? It's a very subtle difference, but it's definitely there. It works really well because normally we'd get a bit of bants between the Doctor and Jamie, wouldn't we? We'd have something silly going on there, but there's sort of none of that. In fact, Jamie's pretty much taken out of the story, isn't he? He's immediately that's the thing in the animation. It wasn't very clear to me what happened. They're bouncing around on the moon. You're bouncing about. And then suddenly Jamie's on the floor and I think, oh, okay, he's fallen over. But then it turns out he's got this sort of virus thing, isn't he? So, yeah, it's all a bit, wasn't quite sure what happened there. But, yeah, so Jamie's taken out the story pretty quickly, really. And I guess that's because, and I always find it strange when we get this TARDIS team because I love Jamie and I love Ben and I love Polly. But together, they don't quite work for me. It's because I think because Jamie and Ben's characters are a little bit, I was going to say similar, but I know they're very different because Jamie's a Highlander, but they've both got that they're ready to get stuck into the action and have a fight sort of thing. So there's even a bit where they're going to have a fight with each other where they have a bit of a ruckus. So I don't know, when I say they're similar, I hope you know what I mean. It's just that in that characterization of just sort of having that sort of male character in the show, For me, it doesn't always work. I always think they're sort of, you can see why they sort of had to get rid of one. So Jamie in this one, he kind of gets sidelined. He's ill, gets the virus. He's, I think he says on the making of it was a really easy story for him. He got to lay down for most of it. So
the paper,
he gets sidelined. But sorry,
the paper.
The phantom paper is coming for me. Yeah. I mean, that is great stuff. I mean, that's what I love about the character of Jamie is that lines like that. It's just brilliant. But it's good because then you get like you said the combination of Ben and Polly together, and I think they work well. I think they work really, really well, those two.
Yeah.
But it feels a little bit like, I wouldn't say a Crowder's TARDIS team, but you know what I mean. It's an odd TARDIS team. I feel having the Doctor with two male leads and Polly, it just doesn't somehow work for me. Because you always need to sort of get rid of one of them. Something has to happen at least to one of them.
You need to do an Adric. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I won't. Who is it? You go. Ben goes, doesn't he? I can't remember how Ben leaves. Actually, genuinely can't remember how that character leaves the series. But I'm guessing it must be soon because I don't think we get that many stories with the three of them from what I remember. But
yeah, I think I don't know. Doesn't Ben decide to stay? And Jamie carries on. So it doesn't. Is that right?
I think it's in because I think he leaves in the faceless ones. Oh gosh, I've got my memory and stuff. I think, and I think he just decides to leave in that. I can't remember because is that the one we're getting next year? The faceless ones. Is that one of the ones? Yeah. If memory serves me right, and I could be completely wrong, I think he leaves in that one, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
really
I
not
think so. Yes.
I'm just trying to look it up on Wiki to see if I'm right.
I think it is, because I think him and Polly...
Yeah, yes it is, yeah.
Yeah, him and Polly leave, don't they? And then Jamie carries on for a bit longer. Is that right?
That's it, yeah. That's strange, isn't it? Because in my mind, I always think we get stories with just Jamie and Polly.
No,
but maybe we don't. No.
Yeah, so I think, you're right. I think for me, Ben and Polly seem quite well suited together.
Yeah.
For some reason, and bless, Fraser Hines, I just feel like Jamie's a bit of a third wheel sometimes with those two. I don't know why I feel that way because, like you said, Jamie still gets stuck in and he's still very much a big part of that TARDIS team for that short time that they're travelling together. But I don't know, I just feel like Pen and Polly. I just feel like Ben and Polly are kind of closer, whereas Jamie's a bit more of a viewer on what's going on. So he's still great with the Doctor. So when Jamie and the Doctor are interacting, that's still really great. That's all really good. But it does seem like, it's a pretty decent TARDIS team. It just, there's something about it just feels like slightly awkward, I suppose is the right word, when you've got Ben and Polly who are always standing together. They're always standing and always chatting. And then you've got Jamie who's kind of shouting his Scottish lines here and there. And,
It sort of feels almost like he's just waiting in the wings to step in as the new companion, I think. And that's the thing, actually. You're right, because Ben and Polly work really well together, and the Doctor and Jamie work really well together. It's almost, but that's the thing. You've almost sort of got two pairs, whereas rather than this sort of TARDIS team, I think.
Yes.
It still works. It just, I think it doesn't. I just think when we get Zoe come on board with Jamie and the Doctor, I think that is, those three together just works so well. Mm-hmm. So I feel like whenever I get a story like this, I don't know, it still works. It just doesn't have that same sort of camaraderie that we get when the three of them sort of get together later on in the series. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
What did you think about the sorry.
Oh, the animation.
Because this is the first time I've watched this in some time, and obviously we've had lots of different animation teams working on different stories over the years. I just wondered what you thought of it, because what was the last one we got? So the last Troughton one, was that Power? We haven't had anything since Power, have we? Second Doctor?
I don't think so.
Because the animation in that was good, but it was a little stilted, wasn't it? There's like when they were walking, it sort of, it was good, but we know they didn't have a lot of time to do it, so it felt a little bit rushed. I thought the animation considering it's quite a few years ago now, I thought it was really good. I thought the Doctor, like in terms of the likeness, like Polly looked, you could sort of see Annika Wills in it. Do you remember Polly in Power of the Daleks? It looked nothing like her, did it?
That's right. Yeah.
Is it Power or what's the one that they just recently finished? I feel like I'm saying the wrong story. The last one that they did. Macra Terror. Sorry, Macra Terror. Remember Polly just didn't look anything like Polly in that.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas at least in this one, I thought, they've managed to capture a bit of Jamie in the likeness. The Doctor looks like the Doctor. So although the fluidity, if that's a word, maybe, is a little bit more dated than what we get now. I personally thought the animation was really good on these. It felt like even when it felt like they were trying to create movement, even if it was a static shot, they would be sort of zooming into that static shot rather than sort of, it didn't feel like it was stilted. It felt like they were trying to keep the animation moving, even if it was just a static shot. So personally, I think the animation is really good. I thought Cybermen looked fantastic in animation form.
They do, actually.
But the likeness I thought was decent on the main characters, like the Doctor, Polly and Jamie and that. I thought they'd done a good job there.
Yes, that was what I was going to say. So I echo your thoughts on that. I thought the animation was actually pretty decent. There was a few times where I thought it did feel a bit static, actually. There was a few scenes, but not too many. For the most part, it was quite fluid. And but the thing that makes it really good is the likeness. They've really nailed the likeness for most. Even the supporting cast look really good animated. You get to see the French guy, Benoit's nice neckerchief tie thing all done, and all the little details on their T-shirts and stuff. It's and on the side, like you said, the Cybermen look so good in animated form on this one. Even the plastic golf balls with the holes that were glued as part of the original costume are all there, and the little hoses and buttons and stuff. And just the way they walk as well, the way they move in animation's really good.
Yeah, no, I thought so. This came out in 2013, I think. I just saw. I thought the animation was very good. I was quite impressed. In my head, I was expecting it to be, because it was an older release. I thought, I bet the animation's going to be a bit rubbish. But no, I thought it was very good. Do you know why he's wearing that neckerchief? By the way, it's not just because he's our French. It's not just to bring that home. Apparently, it's because the name badge. They got these little plastic badges, like great big sort of badge, not just a little badge, great big badge on the front of their T-shirts. Apparently they printed the same name twice on two of the costumes. And they were like, let's cover it up with a neckerchief, which doesn't really work because it's such a small neckerchief. But I guess back then, no one's going to be squinting at their TV saying, hang on a minute, that name's looks the same as his name. I don't know what name it was, but that's why he's wearing it, apparently, to try and cover up his name.
Wow.
But it doesn't. I know they didn't really get away with it, but like I said, back in those days, TVs are probably about 10 inches, and you probably wouldn't have seen it anyway.
In black, you wouldn't have noticed.
You wouldn't have noticed that. But just go back to what you said about the Cybermen in animation. They look brilliant, don't they?
Yeah.
And this design of Cyberman, I'd forgotten how much I love it. It is a great redesign, isn't it?
Very cool. Yeah.
So the other thing I get mixed up in my brain is that I am right in saying this. So the last time we saw the Cybermen was the first time, right? So this is the first Cyberman story after 10th Planet. Is that right?
That's right. Yep.
So this is this is going much more towards what we see nowadays. So I've always loved the sort of 10th Planet Mondasian Cybermen look with the cloth faces. I think they look really creepy. But then this is quite a step up in design, isn't it? And I think it's brilliant. As I said, when they come on screen, I was thinking, wow, I'd forgotten how much I love this design, even with this golf ball ping pong things on their arms. I think they look great. It's the silver eyes and the little mouthpiece, and then we go from this to presumably Tomb of the Cybermen or something like that. Must be, but yeah, great. I just really do like the redesign. I think it works really, really well. They look creepy as heck. It's just the dead eyes on the costume, isn't it? They just look scary as hell.
Yeah, it was Tomb after this one.
Tomb, yeah.
Yeah, so in the original ones, I think, from the 10th Planet, they've got a more human-looking feel to them, because most of the costume was like fabric, wasn't it? And it was only like the very top part of the head was metal and stuff.
Great big clunky thing on their chest.
Yeah, it was huge, like the big light bulbs in it.
Radio. Yeah.
So yeah, these ones are more refined, aren't they? And the whole helmet is now. It was probably plastic, but it looks metal now, the whole thing, and it's got that rectangular slit for the mouth and the metal eyes and stuff. Yeah, they look really good. And
you said about them not being like that. You're saying about the modern day ones being all fast moving and stuff. But I'll tell you what, when that one jumps off that bed, that sick bed,
oh, it rocks, doesn't it?
Off move. Yeah. God, I was like, oh, look out, here he comes.
Actually, do you know what's a really cool detail for that? At the end of that episode, when the Cyberman sort of flings himself off the bed, he does it quite forcefully, and the whole bed rocks back and forth for a few seconds. And what they did is, in the following episode, the animated one, they actually included that detail in the recap at the beginning for the first.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Oh, right.
So when the Cyberman hops off the bed, they make the bed rock in the same fashion as well. Yeah, it's really cool detail.
He really leaps off there. I love that as well, because I was thinking it's kind of ridiculous in a way. I was thinking, oh, surely they would have. The fact this Cyberman's just been lying under there hiding all this time, but I kind of liked it as well. But I just really do love the Cybermen in the story. I just think they're so creepy, and I love the voice as well. Absolutely love the voice. We'll become like us. It's brilliant.
Yeah, very sinister. There was one part of the story that I did find a little bit. I can't think of a word to describe it, but there was about two or three scenes where Polly had screamed because she had seen a Cyberman in the sick bay, and everybody runs into the room just as the doors at the other end of the room are closing, and they're like, "What happened?" And she's like, "There was a big thing, person, monster, whatever," and it's. And then immediately there's like 2 or 3 people that get ordered to go and have a look. So they run through the same doors, and the Cyberman's vanished somehow. And I find that weird because they don't move that quick, And then the bit in the sick bay as well where one of them's just standing in the corner of the room.
Oh yeah,
and it's conveniently in the shadows in the corner of the room. But I'm pretty sure that you would have seen. A 7-foot Cyberman standing, even if it was fairly dimly lit, with some shadows. Yeah. I'm pretty sure you would have seen a 7-foot Cyberman standing. Or
you
might
corner. Have just noticed that big shadow behind you. Of the, you're like, what's that?
I know it was. I know it's television for its time. I totally get that. And like you said, back in the day when people were watching on like little 12-inch, very old tubular. Little black and white TVs with very fuzzy broadcasts and stuff. I get that you have to do things a certain way to make them come across that way. So we're spoilt nowadays with what we can see in terms of detail and storytelling and stuff. So I completely get it, but I just thought, if they're going to leg it through those doors and the Cyberman's only just gone through them like 3 seconds before, I'm pretty sure he's going to be on the other side. But they come back like a minute later, it was like, nah, Gov, no sign of it. And they sort of roll their eyes like, oh, we'll get him next time. Cheeky. Bleeding hide and seeking it.
The sets are very confined, aren't they? Because there is another bit which kind of echoes what you've just said as well, where the guy, it's kind of unintentionally funny actually. The guy that gets the virus that comes back alive, and he creeps into the room, and then he goes into that booth and puts on that funny hat.
Oh yes. Yep.
There's a bit where he's creeping around and he's literally stood next to them all, just hunched over. And I'm thinking, but he's not. I think he's supposed to. If it's down to the set, isn't it? He's clearly in the script. It says he hides in the corner of the room and then manages to get into the control center, put on the special hats, and But yeah, he's just stood next to them all, creeping around, and they just don't notice him. I'm like, but hang on.
Oh yeah. Oh, Dr. Evans. Yeah.
And he puts that hat on backwards. Did you notice when he knocks out the guy at the control panel, takes his very fetching hat. I don't know what that hat does, and then he sort of struggles to put it on. I'm thinking it's backwards. But he's got a virus, so you got to let him off. He's not feeling well, but it's just the way he's struggling to put it on. And it's like, obviously in the next shot, somebody's told him and he's got it on properly. But that's a scene, another scene where he's literally in the middle of the set, and there's no way they couldn't see him there, but he's, they sort of have to pretend they're looking at the skies. Oh yeah, what's over there? But I guess it's just because the sets look tiny, don't they? It's only two or three sets.
There is, yeah.
Yeah, I should imagine the moon set probably took over half the studio, I would think.
Yeah.
And they're probably the two sets at the side of it.
It was funny, though, because the camera just pans across and then he's just standing with he's facing the wall by the door, isn't he?
Yeah, he's like by the wall, isn't he? It's weird.
And he just turns around because I think that would give him up more than him trying to act natural. The fact that he's just stood there motionless with his nose against the wall, that for me would be like, you're right, mate. Like that would make me more suspicious than if he was just walking around trying to be inconspicuous. But then the camera sort of zooms in a bit and he just turns around and just casually walks through the door. Like there's like 10 people in that room or 8 people. Like, what are you all looking at? And
then they're all surprised. Like, he's in the room.
Yeah. They don't even notice until he's halfway through doing the bloody thing anyway. He's been in there for about 20 minutes and he's fiddling with knobs and he's doing everything. And then it's that really funny light bulb moment when they're all talking. It's like, well, who could be doing this? And they all slowly turn their heads and look through the glass and it's like, dun, 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 like he's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that thing they put on there? I'm assuming that because this weather base is
control hat.
It's powered by sort of nuclear energy, like thermonuclear energy. I'm assuming that in that room there is some kind of threat to, I don't know, nuclear whatever. So this hat is meant to protect them, I suppose. But it looks like a kind of tea cozy that's had like little foam rubber balls or something stuck on it. It's really weird.
It definitely has a look of tea cozy about it, that's for sure. Yeah,
it does. Yeah.
Very fetching.
What did you think to the external shots? I mean, we said the sets are quite small and they're pretty well done. But what about like the moon base when you see it from externally and stuff? And
the model shot?
The model shots, yeah, look not too bad actually.
No, the model of the actual base I think is really good for the time. The flying saucer not so much because they kind of just sort of fall into shot and you can see the wires, but you know we can forgive that.
Yeah, it's cute.
The moon, yeah, it's cute. Yeah, but the moon shots, the actual moon, the proper when the Cybermen are sort of floating away. I mean, it looks quite impressive actually for the time.
It does.
Yeah. It's just the end bit when they're clearly on wires being lifted up into the, into gravity. It's quite funny, but it's quite impressive actually. Yeah, I would love to see. This is why it's such a shame actually that as much as I thought the animation was good, it is such a shame that the 2 episodes are missing because a lot of that stuff episode 3, which is normally the sort of plodding episode, is actually full of action. In this story, episode 3, which is animated, I would really wish that existed because there is so much going on in that episode. There's Cybermen shooting at the base, and there's lots of action in episode 3, which is unusual. It's usually the filler episode. But yeah, I just think that moon set is impressive. I love all the stuff with the TARDIS landing on it and them coming out in their costumes. We get to see a bit of it in episode 4, so we get the idea of what it would have really looked like. But I would love to see the real footage of episode 1 where they land and they're all floating out, like the Doctor and Polly and Jamie and Zoe, when they land and they first come out on the moon in their outfits. I'd love to actually see that for real, really. But sadly, it's not to be.
The spacesuit costumes were very funny.
Yeah.
It was that typical really old retro sci-fi where it was just basically a large glass ball that's kind of fit around your head somehow, and that was meant to be like a seal, I suppose, with the how it sealed onto the rest of the suit, I don't know, and then they had these big empty plastic things with like a bit of hose pipe that connected it up to the thing. It's really cool. It's got that really excellent kind of retro, old school sci-fi look and feel. It's amazing.
Actually, the whole that's one thing about it. This whole episode does have that real classic, almost Flash Gordon
type. Yeah.
It's classic sci-fi where they've just done the best they can, and I think they get away with it.
I think so. It's got that old school stuff has got a lovely charm in Doctor Who. It's you can tell they've had, as we all know, that the budgets were tiny for Doctor Who, so they've done the best with what they could.
It's a bit like the music, isn't it? Because I always assume that what I would refer to as the Cyberman. I always think of it as being the cyber theme, dung, dung, the big drums. Yeah, but it's all stock music. But I mean, nowadays it's just completely, you know, it's associated with the Cybermen, which is great. But yeah, even that they couldn't really afford to do their own theme. I'll tell you what I do love though. You know, you said about the spacesuits and that. I love it in the old series how the Doctor will always check, but he's, you know, like Jamie and that are ready to just walk out onto the moon and die. He's like, wait a minute, we haven't checked the readings yet, and you know, it just adds a little bit of element to the fact that they are on an alien. Well, they're on the moon, but you know what I mean. In other stories that, you know, maybe we ought to check the radiation before we go out. Oh yeah, that'd be a good idea. But I love the fact they do that in the old series, and I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't really think of them doing that now. They just sort of land and plonk out into the outside, and you know, I mean, we couldn't have it every story; it'd get boring. But it'd be nice if every now and again they just check the odd radiation meter or something, wouldn't it?
Well, they changed the rules a little bit, I think, didn't they, in the modern era? Because they're
yes, they did.
The TARDIS has got like a kind of force field thing around it, so you can, because there's that scene, isn't there, with Matt Smith and Amy's floating outside the TARDIS in space.
Yeah,
but the TARDIS is protecting them so they can breathe and don't get, you know, harmed in any way and stuff. So, you know, there's a bit of all our hairs floating out as well. So
it's do you know, that's such a beautiful shot that is. I remember when I saw that, and then they went and put the credits all over it, didn't they? There's credits. I was like, oh, it looks so good.
Yeah, I think they've changed.
The name comes up.
Yeah, they've changed the rules a little bit on that now. The TARDIS gives you like a bit of protection if you're in the close vicinity of it. Yeah.
And it translates everything as well, doesn't it? The TARDIS.
That's right.
Translates there. So, well, I kind of like that idea, but yeah.
I know what you mean, though. It's cool that the Doctor's got a bit of a hold on. You don't just go legging out onto an alien planet, or the moon in this case. No, it's cool. Before we get on to one other thing, I just wanted to say that I love the fact that they constructed a bunch of Cyberman suits as well.
Yeah.
Because that scene in episode 4, is it the cliffhanger in episode 3, or definitely in episode 4, where you see them coming out of the ship and there's just one after the other, and you think, crikey, how many Cybermen are there? And then I think there's about 12, like 10 or 12 in the end. And the way that they all walk in a line slowly across the moon, advancing on the moon, but that's really, really cool. Really well done.
Yeah, it does look really, really good, doesn't it? I always try and spot which one's not Ian Levine, John Levine. I always try and spot which one's him, because he's in one of those suits, I think. I'm pretty sure he's in one of those.
Right.
I think he is, although I can't see him credited on here. I'm sure he's in one of them suits.
He probably is, because there was in the Radio Times that went out at this time, there was, when they credited the actors of the Cybermen, it just said other actors. So he could well be.
I'm sure I've seen. Yeah, whenever I see a story, I always think to myself, "Oh, John Levine's one of them Cybermen." Well, I can't see him credited, but I'm sure he is. I'm 99% sure he's in one of those suits. But yeah, no, it's a great shot. They really do. I mean, the Cybermen really do look great in this, I think, and the direction from Maurice Barry. Although a little stilted, a little slow in places, I did think he did a fairly good job. I think, as I said, Cybermen looked great. And I love the performance from Pat that he's managed to get. So, yeah, no real qualms with the direction.
Yeah. Before we get on to some of the cast members, just quickly, what did you think to this strange little moment in episode 3, which we hardly ever get in any Doctor Who, which is where you hear the Doctor's inner thoughts? Like you hear... He sort of narrates his thoughts to the viewer, and then he kind of, and then he replies to himself. He has like a bit of a monologue with himself just for a few seconds.
Yeah.
You hardly ever see that. I can't think of another story really. There must be one, but I can't think of another story where you hear the Doctor talking in his head to the viewer almost, and then replying to himself. That was kind of cool, but strange.
Yeah, I liked that. And I don't think we ever have seen that before or since, as far as I can remember. And it threw me a little bit, to be honest. I was a bit like, is the audio gone out of sync? I was like, it threw me a little bit. No, it's a nice moment, I think. But yeah, I don't think we get that again, from what I remember.
Is there a Tom Baker story where they tried this weird thing, like this... kind of exposition thing at the beginning where there's like a Star Wars crawl?
The time.
Is it
what is it? The Yeah, the one where he goes back to Gallifrey.
That's it.
He's
all shouty. Is it the Deadly Assassin?
There's a bit at the start of that. They have like a scroll comes up. Oh, is it Deadly Assassin?
I can't remember. It's one of those.
It's one of those. Yeah.
But is it Tom Baker that narrates the opening bit?
Yeah,
it is, isn't it? Yeah. So that's strange and quirky, which is. I don't think they've done that again either.
Yeah, I didn't like it so much in that one. I'll be honest. I thought it was a bit odd, but yeah, I'd forgotten about that one.
Yeah, but no, it's kind of a quirky little thing that's quite cool. Yeah. Right, some cast members then. So the some of the actors who played the scientists. So we had André Maran, who played Benoit. He was kind of consistent, really, I felt, throughout the whole thing, because sometimes they get a bit flappy, some of the performances towards the end, which I think is down to the direction, but because there's such a bit of a build-up, I suppose, of the Cybermen who are eventually going to break into the base. The actors, they're directed to be they're getting panicky and they're getting scared. But some of these guys hold their nerve pretty much throughout the whole story, and Benoit's one of those characters. So I thought he was pretty good, actually.
Yeah, no, I thought he was good. I just, as soon as I saw him, I just think of him as Andre from Fawlty Towers. He's in. I just can't see him as any other character, but he's like, but I did think he was good in this. Yeah, like you said, his performance is sort of on a level. Again, that's probably down to Morris Barry. But yeah, I liked him. I thought he was a good character, and he played him well. Yeah,
it's good in the old Pink Panther films as well.
Oh yes, that's it. I couldn't think that. I knew him from something else. Yeah, that's right. He's in that, isn't he?
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, I like him as an actor.
What about Dr. Evans then? The guy who very, very good at his incognito mode.
Stealth mode, yeah. Well, yeah, he doesn't get many lines. It's quite a good creepy performance, actually. I do love the effects of all the virus spreading on his face and hands. That's pretty good for the time, actually.
Yeah.
He's all right. Pretty good as Virus Man. Yeah.
He did do the voice of the guy on the other end of the radio.
Oh, did he?
When he wasn't acting on screen, he did the voice of when they're radioing down to Earth and they're like...
To Earth, yeah. Is that the one who's like, just get on with it?
Yeah, basically, yeah. Like, we don't care that you're having problems, just sort it out. Yeah, he did that, voice.
Very British, yeah.
What about the guy that... there was a couple of other scientists as well. There was Sam and Ralph, those two.
Don't forget Bob.
Yeah, I was going to say Sam, Ralph, and then you've got... so those guys, they're kind of in and out of each episode, I would say. They don't have huge, big roles to play, but they pop up fairly regularly throughout each one. And Bob, yep.
I don't see Bob listed on the cast list.
No, he's definitely on there. No, he's on there.
I was going to say, on Wiki, I can't see him on there, but yeah. Bob meets an untimely death as well, doesn't he? Poor old Bob.
Yeah.
I thought the supporting cast in general were pretty good. Like you said, they all seem into the script and the story, and they're all good. Hobson, the main guy, he stands out to me as being particularly good. I really thought he was, putting in a good performance. Taking it very seriously and just emphasizing that sort of threat. I like the fact he gets impatient with the Doctor in terms of he starts to suspect they're part of it, doesn't he? And yeah. But I like that because it wasn't just a knee-jerk reaction. It sort of builds. He sort of lets the Doctor do a few experiments, but he's not sure about him. And then just as he's about to throw them all out onto the moon, the Doctor sort of says, "I've discovered something," and I thought that built up really nicely. But I liked Hobson's performance. I thought he was good in this. So it's Patrick Barr was the actor. I don't know him, but I thought he was good.
Yeah, he was good actually, and I think there were a few scenes actually, and I don't know if it's just because of how Patrick looked at that time in his life, but there were a few scenes where I thought he feels a little bit Hartnell.
Yeah, I thought that. I did as well. It's just that more serious tone that's slightly more snappy.
Yes.
Because the second Doctor tends to be, we don't get that much from him. But there was definitely a little bit of essence of Hartnell in there. Because that's why I thought maybe it was early on. I thought, maybe he's sort of trying to, he thinks the Doctor's quite snappy and hasn't quite found his second Doctor that we no. But yeah, I definitely got a few Hartnell vibes in a couple of scenes as well, especially when Hobson was having to go at him. And he was like, no, I've discovered it now. Leave me alone. I need time to do these things. I thought that's a bit Hartnell, just, leave me alone sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. The only one thing that I felt he wasn't quite like Hartnell, he was a bit of a pushover, I found in this, Hobson. Like every time that he said, he had a conversation with the other scientists, he's like, right, these lot are to blame. We're going to kick them off the moon. So we'd go into the whatever room it was, the sick bay. And he'd say to the doctor, right, I want you out of here. And the doctor would say something like, no, I'm so close to the discovery. And then he was like, all right, then we'll leave you to it. And that happens like 3 or 4 times where he's with good intentions. He's like, right, this is going to happen. And then the doctor says something like, no, And he's like, oh, okay then. So it's a little bit of a pushover. But
we might have been at cross purposes there. Do you mean you thought Hobson was like Hartnell or Troughton?
Hobson.
Oh, Hobson. Sorry, no. I thought Troughton was a little. I thought Troughton had sort of the essence of the first Doctor in a couple of bits because he was that darker, slightly more snappy.
I agree with that. Yes.
Yeah.
No.
But Hobson, okay, yeah, I hadn't really thought that, but yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah. We've spoken about Jamie, Ben, and Polly already. Those guys are.
Yeah, you thought Polly. I was going to say a lot of people I know in the comments are saying a good one for Polly. I thought she was good in it, but I did feel a little sorry for, again, being a little bit sort of sidelined. What can we get Polly to do? I mean, she gets to make the tea and a few other bits. I did sort of think, oh dear, poor old Polly, just like, But yeah, I know what you mean. It is a good story for her, but there were a couple of scenes where I felt a little bit sorry for her. It felt like, right, what can we get Polly to this episode? And the doctor's like, I'll go and make some coffee. And, I think he says it twice, doesn't he? Oh, I think that we could do with some more coffee, Polly, for the lads. I don't know. So I felt a little bit sorry for Annika in that sense, that she just was reduced to making tea for one episode. But it does come in handy when they get the hole shot through the dome and they use the coffee tray to seal it.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, good, very handy.
Yeah.
That she was making coffee at that moment. But,
yes.
Yeah.
And then and Jamie, he was, Jamie's Jamie. It's just a shame that he was out of it for the first couple of stories, episodes. But I guess that's what happens when you have a relatively crowded TARDIS team. You can't cater for all of them in every scene, in every episode. So it's kind of good in a way that he's out of it because it allowed the other two to shine a little bit and progress the stories. I think it would have been crowded to have, because there was already it was a bit like that later on in the story where, like you said, Jamie and Ben nearly come to blows because they're all trying to do the same thing and they get each other's way. And
there's a bit of testosterone going down there, isn't there?
Yes, yeah. And then the second,
I do love all the Phantom Piper stuff.
The Phantom Piper.
That's great stuff. The fact that he thinks he's, and also the fact another little strange little moment is when he says about the Phantom Piper, and the second Doctor's like, sort of believes it, doesn't he? He's like, oh, maybe Jamie has seen it.
Yeah.
And Polly's like, we don't believe that, do you? But the Doctor's thinking, you sort of think, oh, maybe there's something in it, And I liked that little moment. Yeah.
Yeah, because
the Doctor believes that, thinks, oh, maybe Jamie is about to die. What this, Yeah, so that was a good little moment.
Yeah, I think the way he words it is something like, but it's important to him.
Oh, it's important to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so that's right. Yeah, it's a really nice little... There's a couple of actually going back to the script. There's a couple of great, moments like that. Some really great dialogue for Pat Troughton's Doctor in this. All the sort of little speeches he does. They must be fought. Have you checked in here? There's some great stuff in the script for him. Actually, thinking about it, more I think about it. Yeah.
Yes.
But that's a lovely moment. I like that. It's important to him. Yeah. Really, really nice stuff.
Good. And then, as we said, Troughton. Slightly different performance than what we've seen, than what we see overall from his Doctor. Just a very subtle lean towards a bit more. I wouldn't say mystery, but just a bit more. Not jumping up and down all the time, and being funny.
A darker one. Yeah, I was going to say, is the only bit that really sort of harks back to sort of being the slightly more, for want of a better phrase, clownish side to the second Doctor is when he's going around collecting samples, which is a lovely moment. When he's going around and he's just trying to
takes off the guy's boot
samples from the boots.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a lovely moment, and that's very much a second Doctor type thing to do. But yeah, apart from that sort of bit of comedy bit there, most of it, he's playing it really dead straight in the story. But it does it really well. It doesn't feel jarring. I don't look at it and think, oh God, that's not the Doctor, or the Doctor wouldn't say that, or it doesn't feel jarring at all. It's just a slightly toned down performance from Troughton, and it works brilliantly, I think, in this story.
Yes,
yeah.
I agree. Okay, is there anything else you want to mention, dude, before we give?
No, I don't think so. Just looking at my notes there. No, I've written Gravitron in great big letters for some unknown reason, but the Gravitron. No, I think we've covered it, mate. I think as far as I can see.
Okay, dokes. I think it's you to go. What do you got?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm around. So I'm, as usual, stuck between two scores. Actually.
There we go.
I'm stuck between 7.5 and an 8.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. Is it good enough for an 8? 8's pretty high, isn't it? I'm going to go 7.5. I thought it was very good. I don't know. There is something slightly lacking for me. I don't think it's quite. I'll go for an 8. I'll go for an 8. It's a good production. 8 it is.
An 8 it is. Okie dokie.
That's my final word on it. 8 out of 10. Yeah.
Final word. Okay. I'm going to give this a 7.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Purely because in the same vein to your, in the same vein that you were thinking, really, it's a really good story. But I just don't think it's up there with some of the other either Troughton or Cyberman stories.
I know what you mean. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, it's a very good story though, and it's another one of those. If you haven't seen any classic era Who or any Troughton Who, this is not a bad one to watch because it's not very long. It's a 4-parter. So in terms of classic Who, that's quite reasonable in terms of length as well.
Yeah.
Right. Awesome. So what did our listeners think? We had a few audio clips in this week. The first one is from Ian, Mr. Ian, over from France.
Do 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 do. Hi, Ian from France here for a quick review of the Moonbase. The second appearance of the Cybermen is majestic stuff. Patrick is in great form, and the story really conforms to the base under attack dynamic that became so well established in this era, and that's a good thing. According to us here in France. Yes, that's right. All of us. The Cybermen have rarely been better. The weird mouth movement as they speak, only adding to their creepiness. Polly gets little to do, and there are some inadvertently hilarious sexist moments as she's consigned to making coffee, and even at one point being told by Ben that she can't do something because it's man's work. I know it's rough, but look, it was the time, guys. Get over it. The sound design is exemplary, with much use made of ambient sound and, of course, that killer Cyberman theme that plays throughout, which really gets the hairs on the back of the neck standing on end. Do 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 do. A classic then, and a shame it only partially exists in its true form. This is Doctor Who. Love it, love it, love it. 8 foaming chest units out of 10. Alors, c'est suffit. À bientôt, mes amis.
I've missed you, Ian.
Ian from France.
I really have. Fantastic.
Thank you very much, Ian. That's very cool.
Foaming
So
chest units.
Brilliant. Actually, not quite as gruesome as one of the other Cyberman deaths, is it?
Tomb,
yeah, where one of them literally sort of oils up and still pretty good though.
Yeah.
Right, that was Ian. Why do I keep saying? I think I'm copying what he's saying. Ian from France.
Ian from France.
Ian Strevens. There we go. Next up, our regular reviewer from Down Under. This is Sammy Satine.
G'day, Gary and Adam, Sammy Satine here. So, the Moonbase. Cybermen planning to take over the base on the moon and taking control of the crew by turning them into Cybermen through sugar, dosing it with something. The design is good. Not sure I like Jamie and Ben arguing. Also, after Polly, bless her, comes up with an idea to dissolve the Cybermen's chest units with solvents, acetone, alcohol, etc., after preparing it, Ben prevents her from doing it by telling her this is men's work. I wanted to slap him. The second Doctor is great, as per usual. He has a very expressive face. I give it 7 Mondasian Cybermen out of 10. See ya.
7.
7.
7 from Sammy. Yes.
Cheers, Sammy. Yeah, she wanted to slap him.
I want to give him a shot. Yeah. Thank you very much, Sammy, as always. And lastly, this is Luke Malloy.
Hello, Gary and Adam. I hope you're well. And this week, it's the Moonbase. I didn't expect to enjoy this one this much, but I loved it. I think it gets forgotten about because it's in between the 10th Planet and Tomb of the Cybermen, but it's actually a really enjoyable Cyberman story on its own. Now, it's a bit stupid, you know, the dumb Cybermen revealing their plans and staying under bed sheets, but that's actually part of its charm, I think. I mean, it's quite funny that you get Cybermen sneaking through a hole, poisoning sugar, and sleeping in bed. It adds to the Moonbase's charm. I really love Jamie in this. It's the first story he starts to sort of come into it properly as a companion. Troughton is very good. He has another knockout performance, and yet it is the episode with the corners of the universe speech where he does start to become less of a clown and more of a thinker. But no, I love this. It's action-packed. It's got funny flying Cybermen at the end. And I'll give it a 7 out of 10 overall. Thanks again.
Another 7.
It's got a very good point about it getting slightly overlooked, I think. And I'm probably guilty of that myself, watching it again and really enjoying it. I think, yeah, it's one I do forget about, I think, because Tomb sort of shadows it a bit, doesn't it? You always think of Tomb.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you very much, guys, for your audio reviews. Very much appreciated, as always. Over on Twitter, Adam Mamoon, I'm Adam, the festive nerd, says, in terms of Troughton's first run, this is a belter. I love the way the Cybermen are used in this story. Barely seen at first until much later. Troughton is stellar. And Doctor, it's the Phantom Piper. No score from Adam, pretty lazy. But there we go. Just joking. Love you. Rick Moran from the Doctor Who Appreciation Society says,
hey, hello, Rick. Hope you're feeling better, mate.
I absolutely love this story. Cybermen back when they were scary. This is a great base under siege story. The whole mystery of the illness and who was behind it before the Cybermen reveal was brilliantly done. 8 out of 10.
Another 8. Good stuff.
Yes, hope you're doing all right, Rick. Jordan Shortman, one of our writers, says, a great story. The whole cast do a brilliant job, and I've always liked this TARDIS team. Troughton gets some enjoyable dark lines, hinting there is more going on in his mind than meets the eye, and the Cybermen make a brilliant return. Excellent from start to finish. Genesis of Andrazani says, I love that name. One of the most atmospheric stories. Troughton fully discovers his Doctor. The Cybermen are brilliant. The side cast is great. Polly is excellent in this too. It's slick, smooth, and magical. And the animation is superb. A 9.5. Michael Herbert, short and sweet. Great story, especially the scenes in the medical unit. Dan Pinn says, I really love this TARDIS team. Troughton is superb as the second Doctor. His They Must Be Fought speech is one of the highlights of the first 50 years of Doctor Who. I howled with laughter when they repaired the dome with the tea tray. Brilliant. Yeah. Gives it a 7.5. The Who Society says the atmosphere is electrifying with a claustrophobic feel that heightens the sense of trepidation. The Cybermen are at their utmost best, skillful and devious. Troughton really steps up with this story, giving us a darker, slightly more mysterious side. A 10 out of 10, a sheer classic. Game Patrol at Prime, again, short and sweet, just says this story is clever. Jackson Hume, love the Moonbase. I mean, I'm a sucker for any 60s Cyberman story. And although it's no Tomb, it's great. It's confined and yet still large scale. The reveal is pretty creepy as well. Edward Gillooly, this is an excellent story and shows the Cybermen at their best. Genuinely creepy and some great cliffhangers. Only shame is Polly's relegation to Tea Lady. although this does feature the best use of a tea tray to save the day ever. Edward gives it an 8.5. And lastly on Twitter, Sarah Louise, the running Whovian, says...
Always running.
Always running. Her Instagram is like... her diet must be crazy. She must need so many calories because every single day, every picture, she's just running for God knows how many miles. Anyway, she says, a first-time watch for me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. A great storyline, which the cast delivered very well, and Cybermen that were truly menacing, a 9 out of 10. And a couple over on Facebook, Charlie Turner, easily the most creepy Cyberman story to date. The only ones that come close are The 10th Planet and Tomb and World Enough and Time. My third favourite Cyberman story animation is really amazing. It's safe to say that the Cybermen don't have a sweet tooth. 10 out of 10 as a Cyberman, 9.5 as a story overall. Joseph Howarth says, looking at it, you'd think it would be a rehash of 10th Planet, but it's ultimately very creepy. And as an overall story, as one of my favourite speeches from the Second Doctor. The animation is stunning to look at and might be one of the better Cyberman stories, an 8 out of 10. So some strong scores there, really.
Very strong scores, yeah.
Yes. I thought, for some reason I thought that they were going to be a bit more middle of the road than that. So that's really cool. So we had a 10, we had some 9s and some 8s. So some good stuff, some love for the Moonbase.
Yeah, no, it is a good one. It is one. And I agree, a bit overshadowed, a bit forgotten at times, yeah.
Yes. So that was that, the Moonbase. Thank you so much for sending in all your thoughts and reviews and audio clips. We love you guys for doing that, as always. It's a really cool part of the show. I would normally hand over to my co-host to tell us what we're doing next week, but we're not here next week. It's our Christmas break. So we'll either be back the week after that, reviewing Spyfall Part 1.
Spyfall.
So Spyfall Part 1 goes out on Wednesday the 1st, and then Part 2 goes out the Sunday just after. So we'll either be back the week after next to review Part 1 of Spyfall, or we'll be back the week after that reviewing the both parts together as a whole story. But we'll let you know, so keep an eye on the socials. Right, I think we'll do there. I think we'll wrap there, dude, for 249.
Okay. It's like a cat, isn't it?
Thank you so much for sticking with us and listening to episode 249. It's been great having you aboard, as always. And yes, get those pre-orders in for the Blu-rays if you're up for a bit of Series 12 action or Series 5, all coming to Blu-rays and steelbooks and whatnot. Thank you so much again for your reviews on the Moonbase. No episode next week. So just to clarify, we're away. No show next week. We might be back the week after. If not, we should be back the week after that, but we'll let you know. So keep an eye on the socials. Speaking of which, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, we're on there. Just do a search for the Big Blue Box Podcast, or check out all the links on the website, which is www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to all of our episodes on there. Plus, there are links to go off and the various podcast networks. So give us a sub over there so you don't miss a show when it goes out every Friday. And if you have got a minute to give us a review or a rating, that would be awesome, because that really helps us out a lot. And also check out my co-host channel over on YouTube. Do a search for The Geeks Handbag.
Yeah, the old Geeks Handbag.
The old Geeks Handbag. Do a search for Adam's channel there. Loads of cool videos to get stuck into. And Adam's also on the socials under the same name, The Geeks Handbag. So, as I said earlier, give us a like and a follow. We chat Doctor Who throughout the week. And we've got a really cool community of listeners and fans over there. So that's really, really cool. So there's not much to say really, other than we hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas. A Doctor Who Christmas. Hopefully you'll get some Doctor Who merch, some Doctor Who goodies to open this year. And we will be back in the new year.
Indeed.
So until then, my name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember, Embark.